plus 1,400. So, Nick, who's got the best chance to knock off Russ for MVP?
All right, I like how you phrased this, Jenna. Who has the best chance to knock off Russ? Because right now, Russ is still the favorite. But the premise of the question suggests if Russ isn't going to win it, who takes it from him? And quietly, without much fanfare, without much media coverage, one Patrick Mahomes is sneaking his way back into the MVP conversation. What?
That's a surprise.
Excuse me, Kevin Wildes? Put Kevin Wildes on camera. I demand put Kevin Wildes on camera, and I demand he account for what he just said.
I thought you were giving us an interesting take.
I am giving you an interesting take. Well, I am giving you an interesting take. Nobody's talking about Mahomes winning MVP. People are talking about Rodgers. People are talking about Tom Brady. You know what Rodgers and Tom Brady all have in common? They have as many or more pick sixes this year than Mahomes has regular picks. Yet they're all in the MVP conversation. Oh, good for those guys. One guy, on the other hand, has 16 touchdowns to 1 interception. And that's not all I have, Brandon Marshall. Let me tell you something else. Of those guys, who are you most confident? Bet your life on it. His team is going to win their division. The answer is the Chiefs. Why does that matter? Can't win the MVP if your team doesn't win the division. Really hard to win the MVP if your team doesn't get 12, 13, 14 wins. The Chiefs have the best chance of any team for the best record in football. The division is already locked up. Mahomes has made no mistakes. He's top 5 in the NFL in every major passing category. And as an added little cherry on top of this Sunday, Brandon Marshall. You know who he gets this weekend? The New York Jets.
Sam Darnold.
I have to break some news here. I am hearing from some of my sources the Chiefs are considering starting Chad Henne and giving Mahomes some load management this week. But if he plays, Brandon, if he plays, add 4 more touchdowns to the ledger, no interceptions, and Mahomes a big MVP favorite coming up soon. I don't know why everyone's not buying into this.
Interesting. Listen, Mahomes, here's what I do like about Mahomes and what they're doing. I think they're better this year than they were last year because they're a more complete team. They are finding ways to win differently. They're winning on defense. They're winning running the ball. They're not just relying on Patrick Mahomes dropping back and just throwing it all over the field. So I do think you have something here. But let's be clear here. This is all Russell Wilson. And the cool thing about Russell Wilson and what we're seeing is this is who he is. This is how he plays. He's not playing lights out. This is just Russell Wilson getting better year after year after year. You're not going to see a drop-off. So this last game that we just saw on Sunday Night Football, that's just a one-time thing. Just those 3 interceptions, bad decisions. That's not going to happen. Russell Wilson, this is his game. These other MVPs, they just have really good years. Now, if there is somebody that's going to knock off Russell Wilson, it's going to be Tom Brady. And it's not Tom Brady because of all of the stats. It's the stats and everything else. The type of games he's been having the last 5 is what he did in 2007 and 2010 when he won the MVP. But some things that I wrote down here, guys, from the turnover margin. This is the Tom Brady effect, how he's made this organization better in so many different areas. Turnovers, they're better. Penalties. Oh, Tom Brady, he's a bad teammate. He's cursing out Jensen and in his offensive line on Thursday Night Football. Oh, Brandon, is this good? Do you want your quarterback to act this way? Yes, because when you do, you hold guys accountable, you get better. So the last 2 games, they've been one of the best in the league in not giving up penalties. Defense is better. Culture, the locker room, everything is better. And then obviously the record. So for that reason, I think Tom Brady is the only one that could potentially knock off.
Real quick.
100%.
Wildes, just real quick before you go, I have a question for Brandon. I'm just, because you've now in back-to-back segments given Brady credit for the improved offensive line, for the defense, and for the lack of penalties. I just want to make sure I understand. So if in 3 weeks the Bucs have a dozen penalties and give up 40 points, I can blame that on Brady? I just want to know the rules of engagement here. When they're good, he gets credit. When they're bad at those things, do I get to say, even if Brady throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but the defense is terrible and they're highly penalized, am I allowed to blame Tom Brady for that, or does he only get credit when it's good? I just want to know the rules here.
Okay, all right, let me just answer you this way.
Yeah.
When you have a great leader and you have the GOAT step in, this is what happens. So I don't care about how you want to talk about it, but this is what great leadership does. They come in and they change the entire culture. They hold guys accountable. So yes, it is the Tom Brady effect. If they regress, if they continue to, if they go the other way, then yes, it's Tom Brady's fault. It's Bruce Arians' fault. It's those leaders in that organization.
I'm good with that.
Wild.
Okay, no problem.
Well, I think Tom Brady could win it if he campaigned for it. Like LeBron campaigned for Washed King. Tom Brady doesn't quite have a clever enough hashtag yet. He just has that clip of Edelman yelling at him, "You're too old," which is honestly too long for a hashtag. But I think if Tom Brady, or if it was seeded out, it's like, look how old he is. Look at the effect he's having on the organization. Just like Russell Wilson low-key campaigned for his when he's like, I've never even gotten a vote. It's like, well, that's not how, whose vote do you want? But it doesn't matter. The storyline was Russell Wilson never got a vote, and he deserves one, even though no one can point to one that an MVP that he deserves because of the weird way that MVP voting is, and people think that it's more like NBA voting. I think if Tom Brady really pushed it out there, like, look how old I am, hey, washed king, and LeBron's like, 2 washed kings, we're here. Like, I think that would work, Nick.
Okay. First of all, LeBron doesn't need Brady jumping on his bandwagon. Brady's got a very curious and sketchy group of friends. We don't need LeBron brought into that bad group of people, okay? That's first. Second of all is this. I'm going to give out a little gambling advice for the public. If you think Russell Wilson's going to win MVP, wait a few weeks to bet it. Because I think Russell's numbers are, despite the 3 picks, at an all-time high. The competition over the next few weeks, my guess is right now, in a few weeks, you'll be able to get Russell Wilson a better number. And one last thing, Jenna. I think at some point this year, Jenna Wolfe and her ilk, the anti-Baker Mayfield mafia of America, are going to start promoting Myles Garrett as a dark horse MVP candidate. He leads the NFL in sacks, leads the NFL in forced fumbles, leads the NFL in fumble recoveries. And when the Browns get to 8-2, folks are going to have to find someone to give credit that isn't Baker Mayfield. And so they're going to be like, who do we do? Oh, it's going to be Myles Garrett. We got to give it to Myles Garrett. And so I think there could be some value in him at some point.
I don't love your reasoning, but I like the name, but I don't necessarily love the reasoning. All right, moving on. So, what a great story. What a great story yesterday. Washington head coach Ron Rivera finishing up his last round of treatment at a D.C. cancer center to the applause of all the doctors and nurses there. Rivera ringing the bell on his way out.
Here we go.